Welcome to another WKTV Profile, the podcast edition. Today we are talking with one of our longtime content creators and a couple of the people who have been working with him on his latest project. Joining me, McCoy. Mo, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing excellent.
Okay, good.
And I'm not just the content creator. I'm the king of content.
As you get, those of you watching live on the feed, you could see, he is the king. Last week he was the detective. This week he's king. Is this guy schizo or what? I don't understand. Also joining us in this podcast today is Andrea Tyler. Andrea, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm great.
Excellent. Yeah, morning is absolutely right. First thing in the morning.
Actually, the one who gets to be the schizo one, though.
Oh, you are. All right, we'll get into that. I'm already frightened, but we'll get into that in just a second. Also joining us in the round table, literally and figuratively, is Paul Hendricks. Paul, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. Blessings, everyone. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure having you guys here. I want to start off, Mo, with you because you've been here the longest. I mean, you were here when I started, which was quite a few years ago. Now, when you currently you're in the process of putting together yet another movie.
Yes.
You have a couple of them already that you've done through here. When you started here, was that your original intent to do movies, or did you start, just kind of learning everything and then moving up from there?
Well, when I started, I was a rapper, so I just wanted to make music videos, and that wasn't what they were looking for the channel, just a music video here and there. They wanted me to have a TV show, so I came up with Fireproof TV to play my music videos and behind the scenes of, me touring and things like that.
Now, Fireproof TV, that was a fairly long-standing show. You did quite a few episodes of that, didn't you?
Yes, I still film Fireproof TV.
Why don't you give those who are listening who haven't had the opportunity to see Fireproof TV, kind of give us a synopsis of what it is.
Well, a lot of people don't understand all the work that's involved with just music or music grind. And originally, Fireproof TV was just a show behind the scenes of all the work we're putting in, radio interviews, touring, business deals, and marketing, promotion. It's a lot that goes into just making a TV show or even music videos. And I had just kind of in 2007 dabbled in doing a movie, and it felt real good. But I think it was the training and things that I learned here working on the TV show is what taught me how to make a movie.
And it's funny because most of the content creators who come in here, and basically the station is just for that, is a big learning facility for you to come in, learn how to do TV, learn how to do movies, audio, all of that stuff. And a lot of them will come in with these great ideas, and then once they realize, holy cow, there's a lot of work involved in this, they just kind of fade away. But you've stood the test of time, man. You've been here a long time. We have your mail set here for Pete's sake.
Yes.
You guys here so much.
I got a whole office set up in here.
He's not kidding. He is not kidding.
True.
Yeah, I love WKTV and the opportunity that was presented. I just felt like, this is what I love to do. And I got a lot of training within volunteering for, filming football games and concerts and basketball games. We did all kinds of stuff, and that kind of really sharpened me as a content creator. And I just really fell in love with shooting, with filming and just looking through the lens and being able to tell a story on the screen, and so I'm a persistent person, and so I just really, really want to learn things that I put my hands to.
So, Andrea, when did you get hooked up with this guy?
That was back in Houston. I was actually auditioning for a movie, Bear the movie, and Mo was the filmmaker in charge on that.
What's that look for? That's a whole other story.
You have to understand, this guy came sliding in out of left field on a white leather couch like he was a knight in shining armor, and I was just
the casting couch, Mo? The casting couch? Come on.
Hey, she was looking good over there.
That's exactly what happened. I think my eyes rolled out of my head and out the door. But He's a persistent guy. Needless to say, I'm still here.
Yeah, that's true. So what are you involved with and what are you doing with him now? And I don't want to get into the specific project just as part
Right
of
now,
his,
we're working on the movie Frequent Visitors. Sometimes I forget what the name of the
Which
movie
one it
is
is,
at the
right.
time because we're constantly working. It's nonstop work. But I was the writer on the movie, so. And also one of the main actresses, well, actually three. Like I said, we'll get into that later. But it's just, like I said, a lot, like you said, about a lot of people who volunteer and learn and come in and do these things. You have no idea what it takes behind the scenes to put everything into. You have to start with writing and casting and audio voiceovers and everything, lights and just so many things that you can't even name.
Then it's kind of baptism by fire, isn't it? It's just get
Most
in there
definitely.
and do it. Yeah.
You either can do it or you can't do it. That's just the way I look at it.
And you guys obviously can. Paul, how did you get hooked up with Paul?
Well, actually, I was introduced to him by his cousin. His name is Andre Banks. He was a childhood friend of mine I went to school with when I relocated from New York. I'm from New York City, but I have family that relocated here to Grand Rapids when I was about 16 years old. I went to Ottawa Hills High School from sophomore to senior year, and then went back to New York, followed my dreams, became a working professional music producer in the industry. And I would come back and forth, and through reconnecting with his cousin, I was introduced to Mo, because he was already doing like independent films and music videos and building his content, resume. And he had a distribution situation with a company called Maverick, and he was also consulting with a music distribution company out of Atlanta at the time that he referred to his cousin. And we would just dialogue about some of my resources being in the music industry and, combining, figuring out how we can combine our efforts to build a working relationship. And then I came back from New York early this year, and we were out of touch for a period of time, and we reconnected early this year, like maybe spring into the summer, and he was showing me what he was doing. I was showing him what I was doing, and it just happened organically. We just started being joined at the hip, working on, first I was helping him with some music supervision for a film he shot a few years ago that he was editing. That was like the start. I added some songs in the film, that I licensed, did a little bit of music beds to put into a couple scenes. And, I actually sat in on a lot of the editing and just gave my 2 cents on some of the editing process, which I learned as I was going along with him. And that experience inspired me to do more in terms of film production. I had collaborated in a couple independent films with production companies in the past, but it was more on a music-based level, like me contributing music, not necessarily producing. So it was an aspiration of mine I've always had. Just need the opportunity to find someone that I could share like-minded, creative energies with. And that's kind of what Mo is to me, you know what I mean? So we bounce off each other, just collaborating on visuals for music videos, content for live concerts that we've covered here in Grand Rapids, and then of course the independent films that we're collaborating on. So I'm like a contributing producer to the films that he's working on right now.
And keep in mind, it's not Mo, it's either King Mo or his Royal Highness. So one of those two, we may as well get it right while we can.
The crown is sparkling in the air.
So earlier Andrea mentioned that she is the key writer on this latest project, plus the lead actor. What are you doing on the project, the current one that Mo's doing?
In Frequent Visitors, I actually play a small supporting role of a character named Dill, who's a coroner that's working with the detective that
What a
Mo
happy
plays.
role.
Yeah, exactly. So as there are homicides taking place within this content of the story, and he's investigating it, I'm giving him information as to what I discover with the victims of these homicides. And my personality is quirky, but also street smart. So it's kind of fun, like I did some supporting roles in like 2 independent films back in like 2005. So it's been a few years, but I'm having a great time. Andre is an excellent writer. It's very inspiring to see the pages that she put to the script come to life. You know what I mean? As we do the scenes and we do the set locations and the wardrobe, especially the wardrobe. Like when you see me in wardrobe, it's like I'm a completely different person.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. I got the lab coat.
You look like a coroner.
The bookworm pens, the glasses. Yeah.
Oh wow,
yeah,
really?
It's fun. It's
Oh.
fun. It's fun. So
That's
I
hilarious.
got to thank Andrea for inspiring me to bring out another side out of myself creatively with that. And then of course I'll be contributing to the music and the soundtrack when we go in post production and throwing my 2 cents as Mo needs me to in the editing, whatever's needed.
So, in the story itself, Andre, did you come up with the concept of the theme, or was it something Mo said, here's what I'd like to do, go? Or was this just you came to him and said, hey, I've got this idea for a great movie?
I have these aha moments, and that's what this movie was. It was one of those aha moments. I was like, let's do a movie about a female serial killer.
Okay.
Let's have her have multiple personality disorder. And then it just grew from there. Every day is
Pages
right
started
here.
going. There you go.
right
That is-
here.
that
They
is it
just
right there.
they grow, and the movie is basically in these 3 books. It's all scattered everywhere, and it had to be put into script form. That's basically how most of the scripts are developed in my head.
So can you give us the Reader's Digest version of it without giving away a great ending or anything like that? Or
Well, it's about a very, very intelligent female who developed a rideshare program to get the drivers to patrons faster within a small area. But she suffers from multiple personality disorder, and she has 2 other personalities who one is just a wild child and loves to kill people. And the other kills out of what she feels is necessity. And so the main character basically struggles daily with watching the world develop around her through social media, basically. And she follows and lures her victims that way through social media because she has the access to it through the rideshare program that she developed.
so did you do research outside on schizophrenia and how it develops and how it manifests itself to be able to write that character?
Yes, I researched serial killers. I had to do a lot of research for a lot of different parts in the movie. One for the detective, also for the coroner, to make sure that their characters were realistic and legitimate, like the things that they were saying were actually things that a detective or a coroner would say. Also, the lawyer in the story as well is going through a dilemma within herself. So I had to research her. I had to research a defense lawyer as well to make sure that her character was. A lot of the characters in the story that have small parts, I had to stop and take myself away from the movie to research that character to make sure that that character was had the right role within the movie. So I had to do a lot of research.
So, Mo, when Andrea came to you with this idea, were you like, I love this, or I'm frightened?
A little bit of both. I was like, nobody's ever did a movie like that. That's awesome. Let's do it. I like the, when I started filming, I got thrown into the bullpen. It's like, hey, here's your camera.
Right into the
Here
deep
you go.
end.
Yeah,
Man. Here you go.
So that's kind of how she got through in on the camera and then into writing as well. And she always told me that she was a good writer, but and that she loved words and stuff. But then when she picked up that character and just went in on it, she got some practice on our movie before, Someone to Love, and then she just went in and wrote a 90-page script. Man, it's beautiful. And then sometimes at night I get scared.
So I meant to ask, which of the 3 personalities is with us this morning? I just want to know, because I don't have any way to get out of here except to go by you. So I just want to make sure
You
that.
would be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, this may not have been the best spot for her. We probably should have put her over here so we have an escape.
I can say, but judging from the positive energy and the smiles that we're dealing with Fatima this morning,
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
I'm hoping it's Fatima.
So,
Fatima
Mo,
is the dispatcher. She's nice.
give me a rundown on your character in this movie, too.
My character is a detective named Trey Gibson. He solves cases in 24 to 48 hours. He's a hot shot. He's a ladies' man, and he's really engulfed in his job. He really wants to catch the killer, and he takes it personal if he can't catch catch a killer within 24 to 48 hours and figure out the case. So.
Is he, and I don't know if you had any inspiration behind this, but he kind of sounds like an Alex Cross. I don't know if you're familiar with his writing, but that's who he kind of reminds me of, with that same swagger, and yet, you know, he is just like driven to be able to solve these cases.
I think Tyler Perry played.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that casting, but yeah, okay, he did. I guess he did all right. That would not have been the one I thought.
Right. Yeah, me either. But
so you guys have been with. This is not the first movie you guys have worked on with him, right?
No.
Okay, so what else have you kind of? First of all, let's start off. Kind of give me a rundown of the movies that you have done so far, and a quick synopsis on them.
Okay, my first movie was Tomorrow's Never Promised. That premiered in 2007, and then
what was the premise of that one?
That was about a rap group that just took off really big, and one of the members left to become a pastor. Yep, so it was called Tomorrow's Never Promised. That was my first movie. I shot that in 3 days.
So, nice.
Yeah, I was just learning then. So then my second movie was The Perfect Romance, and I shot that in, I can't remember, 2014. So I went on tour with my music between that time, and then I just really had found passion in filmmaking. And so when I got back off a tour, I just went and started a movie, and we did The Perfect Romance. In 2000, fast forward, in 2018, it got picked up by Maverick Films and distributed worldwide with Walmart, Barnes & Nobles, online, everywhere.
Beautiful.
And so then my next movie after that was 31, a short film. It was a short horror film. When I premiered The Perfect Romance at Celebration Cinema, I asked some questions. I said, when's the best time to put out a movie? And they said, Christmas. And I said, okay, cool. And then I said, well, what's the best kind of movie to put out? What's the #1 selling genre? And they were like, horror. So that really jumped me off into horror. And so I made 31 horror film, a short film that's available on my channel. And then I
31?
Yeah. Apartment 31 is about a...
I thought you said you made 31 horror films.
No.
Okay, all right.
Blew up away.
I was going to say, no wonder you live here.
Not yet.
Okay.
So, so that one came together organically. It was about a killer in Apartment 31 that, he lost his whole family due to a fire, and then he just started killing people in the apartment.
All
so
right.
he would, creep people out in the hallways. And so that was just a short film. Then the next film I worked on was the Tickler horror film. And so it was a horror comedy. I shot that in Houston, and then we premiered it down there. Then after that, I got on to Angel horror film. And that was pretty much the hardest film I ever made. It took 4 years to make that movie, just throughout all the adversity that comes with making a movie and a horror film. I learned that you go through kind of what your movie is about. You go through it. So when I made comedies, I had lots and lots of laughter. When I made horror, horrible things happened.
Really?
Like my house burned down, Hurricane Harvey, 2 car accidents, one thing after another. It just was horrible. I said, you know what? Maybe I'm not fit for this genre.
I was going to say, at what point in time do you go, let's make another comedy?
Yeah. So that's when I came up with Someone to Love.
So now you're talking about, serial killers who are schizophrenics. What are you?
Yes.
Are you trying to tell us something, Mo?
No.
You're hearing voices.
She wrote that one, so. But she did experience something that has to do, basically, do with it. Is with
Took me into a split world, a split reality, actually. I suffer from epilepsy.
Mm-hmm.
So I recently had multiple seizures back to back, and sometimes recovering from the seizures, you're stuck in a void. And that's where I've been for the past couple of days. Yesterday I kind of got back into the swing of things by coming back up here to the office and just being around everything, looking at wardrobe and props and everything really helped out. So Yeah, you do go through a lot. It's a thriller, and we've been through some thrilling things these past couple of months.
Now, Paul, you're doing some acting in this, but
Yes.
that's not your primary responsibility. Do
Yes.
you suffer from the same sort of problems these guys do, or is this still new to you?
I
As far
think
as
for me, it's balancing creative and business, because coming from my music industry experience, I'm also thinking business a lot, meaning making sure to deal with clients, administration, and structure, of everything we need to get done and who we need to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I got to credit Andrea for being a part of that process, especially dealing with casting and planning and set locations, because she and I bounce off each other to make sure as we plan our weekly schedule, we organize those things together. So that's kind of my role as producer, aside from being cast in it. I usually try to stay away from the camera, but I think one of Andrea's characters kind of approached me and I couldn't refuse.
Wait, the
She was
character
like-
approached you?
Yes,
Okay.
I think her character
One of
said,
the
"You're
three.
going to play Dill." I was like, "Okay."
So you don't have the sudden, deep-seated need to go see dead people all of a sudden,
Oh,
do
no,
you?
no.
Okay, I just wanted to make
but
sure of that.
Interestingly enough, in my when I was younger, before I was professionally in the entertainment business for a living, I worked at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. Part of my job, which was called transportation information, that was the title of the role. I transported patients to admitting, and I've also transported patients that passed away to the morgue. So I have that experience. So I don't have a fear of being in a mortuary or a morgue and seeing a body, because I've overcome that fear from that experience working in a hospital in real life years ago. You know what I mean? So we actually shot one of my scenes in a funeral home. And I guess that's
We were in the morgue.
In the morgue.
Yeah.
of the
We were
funeral
downstairs
home.
in the morgue.
And,
Yeah.
I wasn't
big
fazed
deal.
by it at all.
Been there.
I'm not in a rush to go see a body. I just respect the dead. You know
Exactly.
What I'm saying? You respect, the families of the deceased. But in the scope of doing what we need to do in terms of production, we had to make sure it looked legitimate. And and the way we shot it was really, really cool.
So going back on what Paul was just saying, principal shooting, is it here in the Grand Rapids area? Is that where you're doing most of it?
Yeah, I just thought when I came back to edit Angel horror film, I shot it in red, and so that presented another problem for me that I couldn't really get it edited.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot
So,
of it. Yeah,
We have a super suite here, and that was able to handle the footage and everything for me to get the job done. So I just came back and started working on that. Then I'm thinking, man, this place is really underused, And I said, well, maybe I'll have a casting call and do another movie. You know what I mean? That'll.
That was the reason you wanted to do another movie, because
Yeah,
it was available?
Yeah, I just felt like, this is a great place, WKTV, and it's in our community, and nobody's accessing it. And so I said, I'm gonna stick around. I got done with the Angel horror film, and I said I'm gonna stick around and make another movie, Someone to Love, and help get some people in here. And then we had a really good casting call. And more people start signing up and stuff, and then we came up with another movie, and I just love it. I love filming, and I love creating content, and I just love WKTV. It's where everything started for me, and it felt like it came full circle, and then it was a lot of opportunity here for me to fill a void that was missing, and just feels good to be able to help.
Well, and again, that's what the station is all about. I mean, it's basically
Yeah.
here for content creators such as yourself to come in, use the equipment without charge, and just get everything done. Everything you need to create that movie is here, with the exception of great talent like Andrea and Paul, and the writing and doing all of that stuff.
Right.
That you need to bring to the table. But equipment-wise, everything you need is here.
Yeah.
And available. And we just got a new red, by the way. I didn't
Oh, yeah,
you
I
realize
seen it.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
peeped it.
they're unpacking it as we speak.
I'm kind of favorite to the Black Magic for some reason. Red just was too much setup for me. I'm a running gunner. I like to shoot. I'm a shooter, and that setup is just a little too much for me. And I didn't like the fact that the red didn't have sound on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I could reference it, and that was a big deal for me. So I'm sticking with the Black Magic, but I do like that it's here. You know.
Now, do you feel you've become really proficient with the Black Magic now since you've used it so many
Yes,
times?
yes.
It's kind of second nature now.
I was afraid of the Black Magic
Yeah.
back before I used it. I was like, man, I don't
It
know
can
how
be
to use that
intimidating.
thing.
Yeah, it's intimidating. There's a lot to do.
Yeah,
with
but been working with the Ursa Mini, the Mini Pro. I'm a beast at it now. You know?
Right.
Yeah, so
You're the king.
Yeah,
There you go.
I'm the king of content. I shoot every day, like I'm shooting on 2 phones right now.
I know. I realize that.
What I like to add to what he's saying is that in the process of us all collaborating and building a great working synergy, I think, speaking of community and this being community media station, I feel like we collectively have brought more interest in other people who are aspiring to do what Mo does or what I do or what Andrea does to come here and use the facility for the purpose of building their content and building towards their aspirations. So I think, as a whole, what Fireproof has done, collectively and for the community, I think it's been great. I think even our cast calls have caused more and more people to come patronize the place. And now I start to run into some of the people that we've introduced to the place coming in and doing their thing. So it's great.
And again, going back to what I was talking about earlier, the facility is here and available to anyone to use. And we talk about it. I mean, WKTV.org. You can go on our website and kind of see all the equipment that's available, and we can talk all we want to people. But it's when their peers, much like yourself and Andrea and Mo, when you say, "Look, this is what we can do. Here's what we've done." That has meaning to people, and that has a tendency to motivate people more than us saying, "Hey, come in, and this is what we can do for you." Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's all part of the process. And believe me, we appreciate what you guys do. Not only the content that you create, but also in passing the word along of what
just
KTV
expanding
does.
the network. That's really what it's
exactly.
about.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So we were talking about distribution earlier, and you've had some success with some of your earlier movies. What are your plans for the latest?
Well, I had distribution with Maverick, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved it. But I'm always up on the new thing. And being that I can go directly to my consumer, I felt like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
So I feel like we're just going to keep going straight to. We'll do some premieres. We'll premiere it on the channel. We'll premiere it at Celebration Cinema South, and then straight to YouTube. And
do you have a date that you're shooting for as far as releasing?
Not for frequent visitors. We want to get it all wrapped up and complete, and then we're taking a different approach on our marketing this time. Where we just have the complete product done before we even pick a date.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's just a step forward.
So currently, to see the stuff that you've already done, your finished products, where's a good place that people could start?
I have a YouTube channel. It's called Fireproof TV. So you just type it in. You'll see me there with some big glasses on.
Not the crown?
Yeah, not the crown. I got to update it. Okay. Yeah, I started that channel back in right when YouTube started. Yep. So I got over 850 pieces of content on there, including movies, TV commercials, trailers, skits, shows, fashion shows. We got everything.
Yeah, you have done you have done a lot of different things at this station.
Yeah.
I've been not involved in them, but I've been here to watch a lot of this stuff unfold and to witness it. And it's amazing how you have utilized this facility, and it really is. It's phenomenal. This is what it's for. I mean, it's for people like you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And those listening or watching out there who have similar ideas. Again, it's a long process. You have to learn. It's not easy at first, but when you stick with it and it finally clicks, this is what happens.
Absolutely, I agree. Most paid his dues, and I'm just excited to be a part of his process and what we're working towards the future.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of, and I know you're deep into this one right now, do you have any plans? Is there something out there that you kind of want to do once this is completed?
Well, we got to complete our romance movie, Someone to Love. Then next we have I wrote a movie called The Bad Boxer. It's a comedy and boxing comedy.
Okay.
And so I did a promo of that, but I'm thinking about filming that coming up after that. And then we got a kids movie called Spring Break starring Real Love McCoy. That's going to be we're developing on an everyday basis.
That's your son, right?
Yeah.
And he's grown up in this place, for Pete's sake.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old is he right now?
He's 6.
He's 6 now, and you've been here how long?
I think I started here in 2005.
Yeah, so I mean, you have been here his entire life, and I know he's been here a lot, so he is very familiar with everything that goes on.
And since a baby, he just popped out a superstar. Like, I mean,
okay.
he
Do we have film on that?
I mean, yes, we do. I filmed everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so he used to like break out of his high chair, jump off of it, and then bow. I was like, who taught him that? You know what I mean?
It's just in there, and Papa, he got Papa's genes, man. He is a showman.
Yeah, he's definitely a showman.
Oh, that's
he has
funny.
a big personality. You can't miss Real.
So are you guys planning on, and this is more for Andrea and Paul, are you guys planning on continuing work with Mo, or is this kind of, you're gonna try to do some stuff outside of this? I'm just kind of curious as to what your plans are from here on out after this current movie is done.
Oh, I most definitely plan to continue. Basically, well, mostly because it's allowed me to do something that I'm extremely passionate about. Like Mo has said before, words for me are just, I want to know how they all go together, and how to break them down and put them together, and so I'm intrigued by that. So it allows me to do that. It allows me to do something else that I'm great at doing but hate to do, and that's just dealing with a lot of people on a regular basis. I'm really good at corralling people and keeping everybody in order and in line, and making sure that everybody is where they need to be and when they need to be. So it allows me to do that thing, and I'm able to feed off of these two guys. They have the greatest energy, so
they do.
I wouldn't give it up for anything.
So do you have any ideas floating around for another story?
Came up with one last night.
Did you really?
Yes, definitely.
Uh-oh, here we go.
And I came up
Jotting
with one last night, and I didn't have a pen available, so I jumped up and grabbed my phone. It was at 3%, but it's about some government cloning in a small town. So.
Oh, man, you're a scary woman. I'm glad you're on our side. That's all I can
Trust
say.
me.
Do you have formal writing experience, or is this something you just picked up and I love doing this and just kind of self-taught?
It's mostly self-taught. Love doing it in school, growing up from elementary on up through high school. Started doing a little college, and my professors in college always gave me good credit, but I was never able to just sit still in college. So I had to let that go. But like I said, I'm always learning more, teaching myself more, researching more. So the learning never stops.
Right.
Whether I'm formally in school or not, I still have to teach myself.
To do it. And you, Paul, you plan on sticking around with him?
Absolutely. This guy's not going to let me go nowhere.
He's not. He's found it. Yeah.
He'll start the morning. Grand Rising King. I'm on you.
That's another thing about Paul.
I'm a music producer also by trade, which is part of my career. So I actually have a music project, which Mo's been a big help with. We shot some visuals to support some records I produced that'll be coming out in the new year. It's a music group called Crossroads. It's a concept project. I'm executive producing actually, with an artist from Detroit who has collaborated with Eminem in the film 8 Mile, and he's like a fixture in the Detroit music scene. And we linked up in the past year, and we worked on a whole album project over the course of the summer. So when I wasn't here in Grand Rapids, I was in Detroit recording. So I want to finish up that album. I'm going to finish up these videos that we shot. I actually did a music tour in October in Europe with a classic hip hop group out of New York from the 90s era, and we opened up for them. We got a lot of great footage from that. So I tied some of that into some of the visuals I'm going to use to market this new project. So I'm excited about that.
Let me a quick question.
Sure.
Now that you've been involved and you're here at the station, and we've touched on this earlier, somebody who's interested in doing content creating, somebody who has visions but just not, what would you tell them to do? What would be your suggestion?
I would first say, because this is advice I would even give myself, which I have yet to do, take the classes, meaning, learn how to use the equipment, learn the etiquette of production and network. Because someone you run into in this building may be doing something that could be of use to you. For example, Mo met with another producer, director, editor here, Scott, and he's a really great guy, and we talked about how we could possibly find some creative synergies in the future. So I feel like when you come here and you use what this is, which is community media, use that to your advantage. Network with the people you run into here, educate yourself about the process of filmmaking, the use of the equipment, and also support the station by getting some experience filming content for the city, like the games and stuff like that. Because I came out to some of the games and I had a great time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that truck is fun to work in.
So yeah, that was really cool. I've never been in one of those trucks up until now. You know what I mean? So seeing that behind the scenes, the transitioning while you're filming on camera, running the scoreboard and all that, that's something you could learn from. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, if you wanted to get into sports and you may not be an athlete, you could be like, all right, let me figure out how I could be a part of the production of filming content for athletes at a game or a stadium. And that's something you can educate yourself about here.
That's a very good point. Thank you for making that.
Absolutely.
And the only downside to that is you really will never watch sports the same way again.
Exactly.
Because you pick it apart, you're looking, you know what's happening in the truck, you know who's doing what, you know what's supposed to be going on. Yeah.
It's like I watch ABC and I watch a game, I look at it completely differently now.
yeah, you do. You're looking at how cameramen do their shots and when the stuff
amazing.
happens.
And I start to notice the cameras that are floating overhead the arena, like especially football games, because they have so many different cameras on cables like floating around to get all that footage.
It's only a matter of time before we get some of those too. I tell you, that's the one thing about this facility is they provide content creators such as yourself with the best stuff. Absolutely. Tom does a great job of finding what's needed and getting it and using it. Andrea, the same question to you about what advice you would give to somebody who might be interested in doing this in any aspect, whether it's videos or movies or sports.
My number one word would be just do it. It's and Nike couldn't have a better concept. Just do it. I mean, that's how I learned on the cameras out here. I came out and I joined Mo one day while he was out filming on the field, and they were like, "Well, we need another camera operator up top of the truck to work the wide angle." I was like, "Oh, you mean now?"
Me?
Now. So after I did it that day, I was back the next week and the next week and the next week. So just do it. Like you get into it and you just develop this feel for it. We eat, sleep, and breathe this thing around here. Like a lot of people ask me, like, "Oh, well, how do you like Michigan?" I'm like, I don't know anything about Grand Rapids. I know about WKTV. That's where I've been since I've been here. I had a little time to leave and go back home to Texas, and I came right back, and I'm right back here. So,
this isn't your first winter here, is it?
It is.
Oh, and it's been an easy one. It's been easy so far.
Could be worse, to be honest.
So I've been told.
I've spent some Michigan winters.
So I've
been
told.
Worse.
Yeah.
Count your blessings.
So, Mo, I'll let you wrap it up with the same question. What would you say to aspiring content creators?
I would say come up here, take the classes. It's available. We need more content on the channels. Your content will be seen. It's a beautiful thing, and I love to work with new people, help them kind of learn editing, filmmaking. I like to teach them how to set up and tear down equipment, just because that helps around while we're working. So it's something I really pushed for people to come and access this equipment.
You know, something we really didn't touch on, but is incredibly important, especially for content creators such as yourself. You own what you make. We don't own it. You do. All we ask is that when it's finished, you give us a copy so we can air it. That's it. But you own your content, and you do with it what you want, however you want. So I think that's really important, because a lot of people think, oh gosh, if I go there and use that stuff, it's their movie. No, it's yours to do with what you want. We're just here to help facilitate its making.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. That goes hand in hand with what I do. When I filmed in Houston with the Red camera, I spent over $50,000 just to make that movie, and I was like, there's got to be something better than this, because I'm homeless. But I got a movie.
You're not homeless, Mo.
No.
You live here.
Yeah,
Come
I live
on,
here.
you've already-
So-
Definitely live here.
Yeah, but this saves a lot if you're into filmmaking or making videos or TV shows. This is going to save your bottom end. It's going to save it. So
And it's fun.
yeah,
It's
I
very
love it.
fun.
It is
Yeah,
fun.
I love it.
Well, I want to thank you guys for being here. Mo, McCoy, I appreciate your time. Andrea, Tyler. If that's who you are today, I appreciate you being civil.
that
And
now.
Paul Hendricks, thank you. All three of you guys, continued success. Love having you here at the station.
Thanks,
And
man.
here's hoping you guys stick around for a while.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
Gene.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
This has been another Volunteer Profile, the podcast. I'm your host, Gene Gregory. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.